This week's been a bit of a disaster. So this week really hasn't gone to plan. First, the joiner pushed my kitchen fitting back to next week, so that's pretty much stopped all work. I need the kitchen in before I can do my second fix electrics and then painting. So yeah, that's really set me back. As well as that, I had a load of plastering done last week. The stuff in the living room doesn't really matter because all I'm doing is putting the kitchen against there. But in the bathroom, in order to get it tiled, I need the plaster dry first. It's been 10 days now and the plaster's only just about dried. So that means I've had to push the tiler back. He's due in next week now, but I pretty much had no work done this week. Since the BRR strategy is really popular at the moment, and if you don't know what that is, it's where you buy a property, refurbish it, rent it out, and then refinance. I'm going to show you some of the things that I'm doing in this bathroom and I do on all my bathrooms to make it a lot easier when you actually come to rent it out. So first of all, we install a vanity basin. Now these are slightly more expensive than a basic sink, but look at this. When you open the door, you've got all your plumbing right there inside. So if you do have a leak, it's a lot easier to repair it. You don't have to rip anything out. You just open the doors and all the plumbing work's there for you. This means when it does come to you needed to do a repair, it's cheaper and easier to do, and also doesn't cause any damage. Even a pedestal sink, a lot of the time what you find is that the plumber will silicone them in, so getting them out can sometimes be a pain. So one thing that we never do is tile in a bath like this. It can look good to do it, but when it comes to maintenance, they're an absolute nightmare. If you do have a leak on the bath, you sometimes have to cut the tiles out to get access, which is so costly. So your other option is to put a bath panel on. Now you've got two types of bath panel, a plastic or an MDF. The plastic ones are cheap, but they're really flimsy. They easily get broken by people just being in the bathroom and accidentally kicking it or something. Also, if you do have repairs, taking a plastic bath panel off and putting it back on can also lead to breaking again. Because they're flimsy, the plumber will seal it in with loads of silicone. So yeah, it's not the best option. What we go for is an MDF panel. Now these just screw on. You build a frame behind it and they just screw straight onto there. They're a lot sturdier. You can't put your foot through accidentally. And taking them on and off is a lot easier because all you've got to do is undo a few screws and that's it. So that's the way to go. So another thing that we don't do is fully tile a bathroom. All we'll tile is around the bath and a strip above the basin. Now, the reason that we do that is one, because obviously tiling's expensive. A lot of the time when you've ripped out a bathroom like this, you're gonna have to plaster the whole bathroom anyway. So if you just tile the bits that need tiling, the rest of it can be painted. But as well as the initial outlay, the actual maintenance of tiles is much harder. Obviously the first thing is cleaning. As I'm sure you'll all know, cleaning grout can be a pain. And especially if you've had a tenant in here for a year or so and they've not done as much cleaning as they probably should have. You can get to the point where they're almost impossible to clean. Obviously, the rest of the bathroom, if that's just painted, your worst case scenario is having to repaint the bathroom. With the grout, it's a lot harder. As well as that, in an old building like this, you've got movement, so the grout can crack, and that causes you two problems. One, you're going to get leaks going through that. Now this is ground floor, so it's not as noticeable, but if we were on the first floor, you could get water leaking through into the ceiling and you've got to cut out all the grout and redo it. But as well as that, just visually the cracks don't look bad, and you'll get a lot of complaints from people saying they want it regrouting, which is very costly. And finally, we mentioned this before, but we put the extractor fan on a motion sensor. Now, the reason why we do this is obviously the bathroom's the wettest place in the house. The way it normally is connected is to the light. So you'll switch the lights on, obviously you use the shower and the fan will come on. But people don't always switch the lights on when they're having a shower. If you put a motion sensor on, it doesn't matter what they do. If they walk into the bathroom, the fan comes on, even if they're just going to the toilet. That means the bathroom's constantly having a cycle of getting rid of any moist air, so it helps prevent damp issues a lot. So that's it for this week. Hopefully next week goes a little bit better. I've got everyone lined up, so fingers crossed. I'll see you then.